Welcome to this NBL webinar bite-sized edition on licensing law update for 2025. I'm your host, Joan Smith, and I'll be taking you through what's to come, what's expected, and some of the recent updates that have taken place in case law, cost cases, as well as the licensing arena. This will be a 30-minute session with a brief overview of those recent cases, an update on licensing legislation, a quick overview of Martyn's Law, as I say, relevant cost cases, and of course, what's to be expected in the next 12 months. As a reminder, we'll start with the Licensing Act of 2003. It's all go in the Licensing Act. There have been some updates to the guidance, and I'd invite you to remind yourselves of the guidance. Many licensing authorities are updating their licensing policies to take into account a number of changes that have come into place over the recent months. So it's important to keep an eye on matters. Of course, licensing authorities remain responsible for the issuing and enforcement of the regime, and there's the power to revoke and review licenses. There's likely to be forthcoming powers for members of the public, and we'll discuss those later on in the session. Justices remain in charge of the limited appeal process, but those of you who are working in the criminal justice system will be fully aware of the difficulties that are currently in place, especially with the magistrates' courts, getting listings, confirming listings, and understanding if appeals have been lodged. There may be a variety of problems in your local justice area, just hearing cases within a certain period of time, and it's taking some months for cases to get full court. So it's really important at present to utilise that committee hearing process and to ensure that all the information is presently available so that the right outcome is made at that first opportunity, rather than waiting for the delays in magistrates' court system. Reminding ourselves of the licensable activities is important. There are a number of cases where the licensable activities have been overlooked. It's important that they're only engaged in these relative areas. Of course, it's the sale of retail alcohol, the supply of alcohol on behalf of a club, the provision of regulated entertainment, and the provision of late-night refreshment. That provision of late-night refreshment still causes issues in relation to members of public understanding what it means. So if you do have an application, it might assist in future to make it clear what is actually being sought, and perhaps put an additional notice to say, we're not seeking alcohol, in fact, we're seeking food and hot food after a certain period of time.